Alright, so our third film is a movie that was released last Christmas, and it was one I've been anxiously awaiting to see. I didn't get to see it in the theaters. And it is The Great Debaters, starring Denzel Washington, Forest Whitaker, and a new cast of very young, promising talent. I can see them going very far. But it takes place in the 1930s in Texas at Wiley College, and Denzel Washington is a professor named Melvin Tolson who is trying to start a debate team. He's a very well-learned professor who has been, I guess you would say, sort of learning from the Harlem Renaissance, and who has been just taking from it, and he's trying to influence his students with the ideas coming from the Harlem Renaissance and poets and just the power of words. And so he's trying to create this African-American debate team, and yet he's a very radical person. His ideas are very radical, and he supports causes that are not very popular at the time, and he's accused of being a communist, and he's accused of being unpatriotic, and yet he takes this ragtag team of misfits that you would normally think of, which includes a girl, which at that time was very strange on a debate team, especially an African-American girl, and they become successful, and they're a successful team, and they go forward, and finally they end up being asked to debate in Harvard. And I know this sounds very thin plot-wise, but there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more meat. This could have been a very, very run-of-the-mill sports kind of movie where they overcome the odds, a lot like Denzel's former film, Remember the Titans. Yet there's a lot more meat to it. There's a lot more adultness to it. The kids are a lot more three-dimensional, and there's a lot more focusing on what was going on at the time in the 1930s. So thumbs up, Wade.
Yeah, thumbs up for me. It's a good movie. It's a very good movie, and you know it is about racism in a sense. Like that is the main focus of it. And
I mean, it's under the umbrella of the debate team, but
yeah,
it's not really about the debate team.
No, and that's the thing that really gets it. I mean, racism plays such a big role in what this movie has to say, because it is about a black team trying to get respect in a society in America that doesn't normally give that to black people. And but the movie, what I really liked about it was that it kind of shifted away from the racist feel of it, and it became more about overcoming anything that bogs you down. And like, there's one character who has trouble speaking, he doesn't even know this, like trouble debating, and he overcomes that somehow. I'm not going to give too much of the plot away here, but you know, it becomes more of a universal lesson in this movie, which is something that really impressed me personally.
And one of the best things about this movie, I think, is Forest Whitaker's performance as James Farmer Sr., who was a prominent professor at Wiley College around that time, too, and he's very respected in the community. And there's one scene that was my favorite that was between him and Denzel Washington, where he confronts Denzel Washington about maybe he's making himself too important and he's too much on his high horse, and they argue about him deifying himself, and it's like watching a great boxing match. It's like two Oscar-winning actors being able just to go at each other and trying to one-up each other in a scene, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, that scene is very amazing to watch, and it really speaks to it. But as you said earlier, it's billed with Denzel and Forest Whitaker. That's kind of how they get you in, like, come see these two Oscar-winning actors. But then they're like, I'd say they're roughly like 40% of the movie. Like, most of this movie focuses on that young cast, and they do pull this movie off very well. I thought maybe the movie was about 20 minutes too long. I thought they dwelt on some things a little bit too much, especially the racist tendency of it. I did not like the white sheriff in this town that they're in, because it was just too stereotypical for me. Like, he didn't bring anything new to the table. I've seen that character before. I know I'm not going to like him. So every time he was on screen, I was just like, I don't really care. But, I mean, it's a really amazing how the movie does not cross that line of overtly preachy, I think.
It has a wit to it. It has an intelligence to it. It has an adult feel. It's not your average kids sports, overcoming movie. It has a realness to it.
It does.
And a grit almost.
Yeah, it made me want to go join a debate team, honestly. I really did. I wanted to go up and, start a debate team or something. I mean, it really does let you see how powerful words can be. It's
old-fashioned Hollywood movie making for the 21st century, and I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it too, so big thumbs up for me. Go see that one, or rent it, or whatever. Well, that's going to be it for us this week. We thank you. I'm Jeremy Goeckner.
I'm Brandon Davis, and thanks for watching.
Yep.